Hi, welcome to the Two Piece Podcast, where two very different people compare and contrast their top fives on a variety of topics. I'm Steph, and I'll be joined by Alex in just a bit. Today's topic is top 5 international destinations that we would like to visit. And I guess we will just have to see where we end up at the end of all of this. We do have one country in common, though, so feel free to take a guess before we give it away. We also discuss the history of how international travel got started for fun and not just for exploration. All right, well, let's go. Hi, welcome to the Two Piece Podcast. I'm Steph.
And I'm Alex.
Nice to meet you.
Every single time.
Well,
nice to meet you.
Well, that's what you used to do. You used to ask me, how are you today?
Yeah.
Like we didn't just talk to each other for 4 hours.
But don't forget, early on in our relationship, when you'd come over.
Yeah, you'd shake my hand.
And I'd say,
like,
good to see you.
Good to see you.
Which you thought was very professional.
I think that's
a throwback to our first episode. Our top 5 favorite greetings. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, I think we did too.
So if you're new to the podcast, go back and listen to that. It's a fun one. There's, I think, a video version of that floating around somewhere. We recorded the first one in video, remember?
Oh, of the first episode? Yeah, we did. I think you put it on YouTube.
It was Twitch. I think it was Twitch.
Oh.
Because we were going to do like a premiere of it. And anyway, we don't do video anymore. But anyway, Steph, what are we talking about today?
Today, our topic is top 5 international destinations that we would like to visit.
And shout out to Casey, who suggested this one. This will be a fun one. Hope you enjoy it. And I hope everybody enjoys it as well.
Yes, and she did actually suggest this one.
Did we talk about this on the show
No, we
already?
did not.
Okay, well, I guess now that you brought it up, what was the topic that I had it labeled as? It was a couple episodes ago. Yeah.
Least favorite chores, you said Casey suggested it.
In my notes, it said Casey, but I guess it was somebody else. So
she texted me and she's like, I did not suggest that
So
one.
if you've listened to our least favorite chores episode, which I do recommend you listen to anywhere you want, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever. I said Casey suggested it. We always give shout outs, and I made a mistake. I'm human, right?
Are you? I thought you were a robot.
No, but I bet you wish I was an alien.
I do.
We already established that, but
I do though.
I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm just like you. I poop one leg at a time. It's no different. And Steph did not find that funny, even though I thought that sounds funny. She was looking at me like, "Why the hell did he just say?"
Okay.
It's like put on one and anyway.
All right.
Put on pants
I
one
think
leg
your
at a time.
mom suggested that topic.
I like how she's changing it back. It was probably Mom, but point is, I'm sorry, Casey, for the extra shout out. I know you don't want your name to be said more than it has to be.
Casey.
That's like Beetlejuice. If you say Casey 3 times, I don't know what she'll do.
I don't know.
She'll look at you and laugh. But
no, she'll tell you you're not funny.
Yeah. I'm sure you hear that a lot.
I do.
I don't know. I've made Casey laugh quite a few times, so I'm feeling pretty good. So
yeah, he feels special. Casey, don't laugh anymore because it goes to his head.
I'm just funny. Anyway. So yeah, it's top 5 top 5 international destinations we'd like to visit.
Yes.
It got me thinking about a little story.
Okay.
Now, Steph, I don't know if I've ever told this on the podcast, but I've taken one cruise in my life. All right. Just one.
Uh-huh.
And it very well could be the last. But I did take a cruise, and it was to the Bahamas. It was with some family. This was quite a few years ago now. I was in my early 20s. And I don't know why I thought about this, but I thought, what's the closest story I have to an international destination? And that's probably, for me, the Bahamas are the farthest I've ever been away from the actual states proper, I guess, So, anyway. I remember I was talking this talk to my siblings, both of them, about like, hey, listen, when we port here, I think it was like Nassau, there's going to be a bunch of like locals at these booths trying to sell you like these beads like a little necklace of
I
beads for like
love this
$40.
story. I love this freaking story.
And don't overplay it, Steph.
I love it.
But anyway, you know, I was like, listen, they're going to scam you. Don't buy into this. They're just trying to take advantage of tourists. These beads are worth $2. Don't spend $40. They're like, okay, I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So now I'm telling you, they're going to approach you. They're going to be relentless. Just keep walking past, get to the main part of town. Right? Because that part is, like, that's true. Like, they're all right there just like, hey, these look great on you. Hey, you know, and they'll, like, put them over your neck for you. They're pretty aggressive. Well, here's what happens. We get off the boat. My siblings continue to walk, and I stop and spend $20 on a bead necklace. Yeah, it happened. I don't know why, but I guess
say no.
I couldn't say no. I mean, I don't know. At the time I worked.
He doesn't like conflict.
I don't like confrontation or conflicts, and at the time I worked in sales, and you know, you're just trying to make a quick buck. I get it. I've been there, man. You do you. But I fell for that crap. Yeah, I'm not feeling good about that one.
And then you had to go back wearing that necklace.
Yep.
I bet they made fun of you.
You know, it's funny. I don't remember that part, but I don't want to. They probably did make fun of me if I were to guess. We did have a nice time. The cruise was fun. I'm going to say this for no reason at all, other than just to process it out loud. The cruise was fun. It was a 5-day cruise, and I wish it were a 3-day cruise. I feel like this 5 days was a little too long.
Huh. Okay.
Steph, you ever been on a cruise before?
Nope.
I know. I knew that. I just wanted to ask, just in case
Nope.
I got history wrong.
I don't really plan on it.
Okay, good. Then that saves... I was afraid you were going to be like, well, I always wanted to go on one.
I've
It's
already
like,
told you this, though. I think they kind of scare me.
oh, yeah, you did say that.
Yeah.
That's a different thing to unpack another time.
Yeah. It's just so many people. I feel like you could get sick, and I feel like you could easily get murdered. I don't know.
I think the cruise murder rate's pretty low.
I wouldn't make some, you know what they say about assumptions.
What? Say it. You haven't said ass on the podcast in a while. Go ahead and say it. She's still not going to say it.
No, I'm not going to say it.
I'm just going to go to Google and type in cruise murder rate.
Yeah. Check it out. I bet it's pretty high.
I bet you it's almost non-existent.
I bet it's high. But there was just that couple that was
You know what
killed in I think at the Caribbean.
All right, in a year in which more than 13 million passengers boarded ships in U.S. ports, fewer than 100 serious crimes were reported to the FBI. So it's 100 out of 13 million, and that's just serious crimes.
Well, 100 is pretty high.
13 million, Steph. The most serious crimes of homicide, suspicious death, and missing passengers totaled to 11 during these 13 million.
Oh. Yeah, well, I'd be one of those 11, so.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. I'm not going to risk it.
And I guess that's according to this, that's to a 5-year period. 11 in 5 years.
Oh, well, that's not too bad.
So 13 million, and that's also in 5 years. But yeah, 11, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That's not too bad.
Well, we're not talking about murders on cruises.
You know, that wouldn't be a bad topic, though.
Our top 5 favorite places where people get murdered. Like, what are you talking about?
No, just, I don't know. Murders on cruises.
Oh, that's very specific.
I don't know.
But we could look up...
Weston. Suggest that topic.
You think Weston's got some poll?
Yeah, Weston,
on
will
me?
you suggest that topic, please? Thank you.
There's 11 murders! Are you telling me that we're going to have to hopefully not pick each other's... Like, there's 11. You know,
5 for each of us.
We don't know which 5 the
Plus
other one's
an
going to pick.
extra.
Oh my gosh, are we really fighting about the 11 murders that happen on cruise ships?
Weston heard me. He heard me.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
He's just one piece of the pie.
Nah, he heard me.
I already made an exception for you because I love you.
You already have a podcast with him, so can you just give me something?
Yeah, what's the name of that podcast? Even know?
Profoundish.
All right, good job. Available on Spotify.
I listened to it.
Apple Podcasts. What episode are you on? Episode 2? You don't have to answer that because I know she's not that far into it.
Yes, I am.
You never talk to me about that podcast, which is fine. You don't have to.
Yes, I do.
You never.
I brought something up that one time you said about me, and you were like, I didn't know you listen. And I said, yes.
I guess you probably did, but that's it.
And then after that, I quit talking to you about it because if you're going to assume I don't listen, then why am I going to talk to you about
anything? What a butt face. You know what? You only bring it up because you were talked about.
Look, you're being weird. You're being weird and giggly because you know I'm right.
Let me start this episode already. Let's talk about international destinations.
Mm-hmm.
I'd said international destinations.
Yeah, okay. Well,
international destinations.
All right,
there we go.
Go ahead.
All right, am I first?
Yes.
Okay.
You weren't supposed to ask me. You're supposed to know.
This has been the first.
You broke your streak.
Okay, but this was a long streak.
Well, you broke it.
Like from head to toe. All right. My number 5 international destination I'd like to visit. You know me, here comes my preface. I know like half the audience is rolling their eyes right now. It's like, Alex, just get to the number. I know what people think. I'm not stupid. But I'm going to have a preface, and here it is. Some of mine are like general locations. Others are very specific, but they are all international.
Mine are just like, there it is.
Some of mine are specific, you'll see. But this first one isn't. My number 5, top international destination I would like to visit. All of these I'd like to do with Steph, of course. I should mention that. I want to do them all with you.
Aw.
Would be New Zealand.
Oh.
New Zealand is an island country in the southwest Pacific Ocean. I never knew anything about New Zealand, like how it looked, until I watched, some people already know what I'm going to say, Lord of the Rings.
Mm.
So those movies, all 3 were filmed back to back there. And it just looks like a beautiful place to go. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but just the greens and the mountains and just everything. I'll be honest, I don't really know much about New Zealand. I just love how it looks.
I've been there.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
She's lying. Don't listen to her. She's never been to New Zealand. She's not going to get me to fall for something like that.
Yes, I have.
When?
When I was little.
Okay. Can you give me a little more than that? What was the occasion? Was it a vacation? That's a pretty nice vacation.
No, I'm lying.
Yeah, so she could... she could have had me if she just would have kept on going with it.
I didn't want to waste too much time.
Are you familiar with what it looks like, though?
New Zealand?
Yeah.
They have kangaroos there.
I mean, more just like the actual landscape of it all. You should look it up sometime.
Yeah,
it's really pretty.
It's like Australia, but like they have a volcano and it's oceany and they have.
But it's really big too, like and it's open and spacious.
It's like foresty.
Yeah,
but tropical.
It's unique in my opinion, very unique looking.
Yeah.
But I would just love to visit there. It looks so pretty.
Yeah, but they have those volcanoes.
Well, I'm not asking to live there.
Well, I'm just saying.
Remember that story about the volcano?
Yes, we're not going on any volcano tours.
Survival, what a podcast.
Yeah, we're not going on any volcano tours.
No, not after that story.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I know that's quick, but everything okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, she's peeking. I have the window blinds open. She's peeking out the window, and I'm thinking, is there like somebody staring at us?
There's a dog barking.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe that was like a cruise murderer getting ready to come in here and take us to a boat and kill us.
No. It was a dog barking.
By the way, this is kind of random, but we forgot to say it earlier. You're going to be talking about something else. What's that?
The history of international tourism.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because when did it start? If you really think about it, when did people start? Like, okay, so we know, like, there
it's
were
not
like
a stupid question, yeah.
Well, yeah, because they were explorers, right, who traveled like from continent to continent. But when did people actually start traveling internationally for like vacations?
I'm going to take a guess.
You know?
Be vague about it because I know you're going to explain it later in the podcast, but I bet you it's way later than we think because for the longest time, we didn't have the means to travel very far distances. Whether it be with vehicles or, pre-planes and all that stuff. So I don't know, I'm curious. Plus over the years, countries have changed and some have developed a lot and are like kind of newly developed. So
yeah,
at least in the history of the world or whatever. So I'm curious to know that. But anyway, New Zealand, that's my number 5 and that's all. Steph, what's your number 5 international destination you'd like to visit?
Well, My number 5 is not international for me, but it would be international for someone who lives outside the U.S.
Oh my gosh. I guess that counts. Go on.
It does. It's Hawaii.
You've been there.
I know, but I'd like to visit again.
I see. Sorry, keep cutting each other off. I just want to say really fast, I wanted to talk about Hawaii at the beginning, and now I know why you didn't want to.
Yeah, that's why I told you to talk about the Bahamas. But I would like to go back. But last time I went, I only went to Oahu. So I'd like to go back and go to Maui or Hawaii.
Yeah.
So there are other islands I'd like to go to.
Sure.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun when I went to Oahu the first time.
What is, if you had to, so there specifically, if you could only say one adjective about how it, just the overall experience of being there, one word, one adjective.
One word?
What would it be? Like, one.
One word?
You can either explain how you felt or what it was like, either way. But just give me one.
That's hard.
And you can't give me a cop-out like, indescribable. No, because you're not describing anything.
That would be funny. No, my brain doesn't work that way.
Okay, well, thanks for answering. If it's too hard, it's too hard. That's fine.
No, I mean, it seems like I don't do well under pressure.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Oh, boy.
I know.
All right, well, listen.
I don't do well. No, listen. Okay. But it was. Can I just use more than one word? I didn't ask you to use only one word to describe New Zealand.
You never asked me to use words for anything, so you can't compare it to anything.
Why are you asking me to literally give my turn in one word?
As many adjectives as you'd like. Go.
Thank you.
Beautiful, nice, pretty.
Why am I sitting here letting you tell me to use one word for my turn?
I do it because I feel like it's a fun exercise.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm literally sitting here like allowing that to happen. I'm like, oh, okay.
But
oh, okay.
I figured you'd find it to be a fun exercise too. I'm not trying to like constrain you. I'm just.
Oh, one word, okay.
Do you know why? Do you
get
it?
I get it. It's funny. Yeah,
I'm not trying to like make it hard for you. I'm just saying.
No, it's funny. I got it. It's just funny. It's just funny that I'm just so easily just like, oh, okay, sure, whatever you want.
Well, yeah, that's me.
No, but it was beautiful, but also
it was pretty.
Shut up. Shut up.
Sorry, I just want to bust chops right now. Go on.
It was pretty, but but no, I felt alive there. Like the culture was just amazing. Everyone was so nice. And I felt like I learned a lot about the culture. Because we went to like a luau and we did so much. I did like surfing lessons and we did, my mom and I went zip lining, which was a lot of fun. And we ate a lot of like Hawaiian, like actual, like traditional, like Hawaiian foods.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And it was really good. So I don't know. It was really nice. We went to a couple of different kinds of beaches and stuff, but I would like to go. Like I said, I know Maui just had all those fires. And so I know that that's pretty devastated right now. But I would like, back then when we went, that was several years ago, but there were some beaches on that island that I don't know how they're doing right now, but that I wanted to visit then, and then some beaches on Hawaii that I wanted to visit. So anyway, I would love, love, love to go back. It was so amazing and the weather was wonderful. And it felt like, I guess you sort of like just felt like free, like you just, there are those moments where you just feel, okay, here's your one word. Here's your one word. I had to like talk through it.
You had to say 600 words.
Yeah, to get to the one word.
Okay.
Like unconstrained.
What a word to use.
Yes.
Unconstrained.
Yes. Like nature and also like within yourself.
Okay.
Describe multiple things. Like nature was just everywhere,
Just felt
right?
free.
Birds were everywhere. It was just so weird and different than here. And then also within yourself, it's like you just like felt free to be yourself. Like you felt unconstrained by work and stress and like just stuff that you were like, why does this even matter?
Yeah.
All these stuff in these things in your daily life that you're like, why? That feel like such a big deal. And then you're like you're in some place like Hawaii that's just, there's nature all around you and there's all these things. And you look back at your day-to-day life and why do those things even really matter?
Yeah.
Like they don't. You're so caught up in it though that they feel like they do. You know, so like my word would be unconstrained, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got there. Thank you.
You're welcome. 600 words later.
Yep, 600. 611 now.
No, I said it
I know, I'm just
before
kidding.
the 11 other words.
Be good for my number 4?
Yeah. You don't have anything to add about Hawaii?
No, because I've never been there. I'd love to go. And who knows? We just may one day again, or multiple days. I don't know. But it's never been on my radar like that because we're just fundamentally different. And I'm much more of a... I guess Hawaii has mountains too, though. But like when I think of Hawaii, I think of beaches. I think of water and...
Well, that's what it is. It's
But
an
there's mountains
island.
too, right?
I mean, volcanoes.
Or is it just volcanoes?
I don't know if they're mountains or if they're just all volcanoes.
Right.
I don't know.
That's a good point. Anyway,
I don't know.
I'm always more lean towards being away from the water. So I just don't inherently think of that, but I would actually still love to visit. You talk about it so highly that I want to go.
It's hot. It's humid though, so you'd be...
I'm miserable here, and it's humid.
I know.
Oh, the southern heat. All right, that's all I got.
Okay, you're number 4.
My number 4 is at one of the specific places, and it's probably one of the most famous venues in London, England. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Royal Albert. Still nothing? You ever heard of the Royal Albert Hall?
No.
You haven't heard of that place?
Does that have to do with the Beatles?
No.
Oh.
Why would you just assume it has to do with the Beatles?
Because it's London.
It's not a bad assumption, but no, it's just a very a lot of my favorite artists have played here, old and new. Most that you probably wouldn't really know any songs of. The only one that you'd probably know is Adele has sang there. You know who that is?
Yeah, you don't like her.
I like some of her songs. I just don't
Yep,
like
you
her.
like her as a person.
But I do like some of her songs. Anyway, yeah, Adele's played there. Eric Clapton has played there. One of my favorite bands called Eels has played there. I mean, the list goes on, right? Winston Churchill did a big thing there. Albert Einstein had a big presentation there. It's like a legendary venue in London. And I would love to go because all of my favorite artists, there's way more than I'm not naming, have played there. And I just feel like to feel the history would be really cool. You know?
That would be really cool.
I think it's something that you would appreciate too. Like it's a cool looking place too.
Is it really old?
Yeah, it's very old.
Like a historical building?
I don't know how old it is, but I mean, I told you Albert Einstein did a presentation there.
Mm-hmm.
He died in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little perspective, I guess. It's pretty old. But I just heard myself. Sorry. I got to adjust that gate a little bit. I was getting all slobbery thinking about the Royal Albert Hall.
Some kind of lizard or something in here.
No, I'm mainly human, but I don't know. I just think it'd be a really cool place to visit. It's referenced a lot in music too, and just kind of randomly. But Steph, are you still thinking about the lizard?
Yeah.
I'm the lizard man.
I'm
the lizard king.
Okay, it's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't.
Know what that's from?
Yeah.
What's it from?
Robert, California.
Good job. Good job. For those of you who don't know, Robert, California is a reference to The Office.
Yeah.
The later seasons.
Yeah. They weren't as good.
They weren't. Season 6 and before. And by the way, I know that Steve Carell was in season 7, okay? But season 6 and before were cream of the crop. Chef's kiss. Great show.
Yeah.
Especially 2 to 6. Anyway, we'll do our Office episode another time.
Yeah.
That is, by the way, not a huge spoiler, that's on our list. Top 5 favorite Office episodes.
Office.
I figured you think that's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
So who knows when it'll be pulled. Could be this time. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see.
Maybe not. Anyway, Royal Albert Hall. That's all.
That rhymed.
Thank you, Steph.
You're a poet and didn't know it.
Yep. I'm not going to play your childish games of rhymes.
Okay. Well,
we don't even have the times.
Okay. My number 4 is not as specific as yours, but it is.
Does it involve limes?
Also London.
Really? You're going to need a lot of dimes to get there.
Okay. All right. So.
She's not really happy about this.
I'm done with the game.
Oh, she's done. So no, I got to be done. Okay.
No. What else rhymes with?
Rhymes.
Well, I've already used that, though.
Crimes.
Oh, crimes. On a cruise ship.
Mm-hmm. We have full circle.
Okay. No, but really. My number 4 is London.
Just London in general?
Yeah, I just said London.
2 birds, 1 stone. You want to go? I want to go. Let's do it.
Yeah, but I didn't have anywhere like specific necessarily. I just figured all the usual places, like the sightseeing places.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it sounds great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why necessarily. I just think it would be fun. I think it's kind of like, I feel like it's probably a very similar place to America, you know? Like, I feel like that would be like the most similar place in Europe, maybe. But it would be slightly different. Like,
sure. I think it depends on what part. I think England's a lot like America in the sense of, I'm saying this like I've been there. I never have. But in just the small area that really encompasses, there's regional differences, right? Language is different across. Not language, but inflections.
Yeah.
And accents and stuff.
But I guess just the way society is run, though, in general.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like, is similar.
I think, though, this might be just the movies talking. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask Lydia. Shout out to Lydia. Let me know, Lydia, if you're listening to this. Lydia's one of the members of my YouTube channel, and I appreciate you for that. Anyway, you can join our Discord. We can watch movies together. Steph is still looking out that window. You see that dog still?
I never saw the dog to start with.
Oh, sorry, you just heard it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I get distracted. Point is, I should ask Lydia. I hear that it looks always cloudy. The sun's never out. But that could be just the movies that make me feel that way. Like most movies you watch that are
that too, though,
in
that
England,
it's cloudy there.
It's just rainy all the time.
I've heard that too.
No, I would like that. I also, like some of my favorite musical artists of all time are from England specifically, and I always think, I wonder if that helps with the creativity. They're always just, I don't know, it helps me be creative.
I don't know.
That's a huge claim. I've thought about that before.
Huh. I don't know. There could be something to that. Could be.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, are you ready for history?
Well, Steph's got her chalkboard out.
Well, you nodded at my iPad, so.
Well, yeah.
You were ready to go.
Don't tell people what I do with my head when no one's watching.
Well, you're telling people I'm looking at a dog out the window, so.
Well, maybe that's a euphemism. You're looking at a dog out the window. Maybe I'm just making a... All right, just do it, Steph.
What does that mean?
You know what euphemism is?
Yeah. But what would that... I don't know if that would
It just sounds like it'd be a funny euphemism, like, Steph's looking at a dog out the window.
What would that mean?
I don't know. It's just the sound of it's funny. I think the sound of things is funny. Tell us about tourism.
Goofball. Okay. So all of this is from Europeana.eu.
Whoa, Europeana?
Yeah.
Easy now.
I know.
This is a family show.
Well, that's what it's called. So I found a couple of different websites, but this is the best one, I think, that really... Well, also I took a couple things from... Oh, I didn't cite my other source.
Uh-oh, so you... So what's...
Oh, my other source was I took it from where is it? I took it from...
It's Europeana2.com.
No. It was from... No. Shoot. Oh,
Europeanas?
Easy. Britannica was the other one.
Britannica?
Yeah.
Britannica?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has some things thrown in there too.
Okay.
All right. So we can trace the origin of the modern concept of tourism back to how far back you think?
Modern tourism?
We can trace the origin of the modern concept of tourism back to which century?
I'm going to say 20th.
17th.
What?
Yes.
That far back? I said 20th century because I figured planes and all that was all in the 20th century.
Well, get ready.
Oh boy, buckle in.
When young nobles from Western and Northern European countries made what was called the Grand Tour, a trip around Europe, usually covering France, Germany, Italy, and Greece, with the main purpose of soaking up history, art, and cultural heritage, it was considered a perfect way to be educated. By the 18th century, this custom was widespread among the wealthier classes, and it spread to other parts of the world, such as America. Similarly, the religious pilgrimages that were already popular during the Middle Ages continued during this period. Then the Industrial Revolution, which began in the second half of the 18th century, produced a major economic, social, and technological transformation that would spread to the rest of the world. As a result of these changes, there was an exodus from rural regions to growing big cities, which needed labor for the new industry. Therefore, new social classes appeared. Developments in transport were also key. The improvements in freight and passenger transport contributed to the birth of leisure, new forms of entertainment and travel. So people traveling mainly by train, taking advantage of the fact that railway networks connected destinations in Europe and other parts of the world. So beginning in the mid-19th century, the steamship and the railway brought greater comfort and speed and cheaper travel, in part because fewer overnight and intermediate stops were needed. Railways promoted domestic as well as international tourism, including short visits to the coast, city, and countryside, which might last less than a day but fell clearly into the tourism category. Rail travel also made grand tour destinations more widely accessible. By the late 19th century, steam navigation and railways were opening tourist destinations from Lapland to New Zealand, and the later opened the first dedicated and national tourist office in 1901. The 19th century also saw the creation of the first travel agencies. One of the pioneers was Thomas Cook and Son, which was the first to offer excursions and holidays for groups, which included transport, accommodation, and food tickets, thus making costs cheaper. This would begin the origin of what we now know as package holidays. So that was in the 19th century.
Wow. Yeah. Color me surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought it came later just because you even think about like how news traveled back like in the 17th century, right?
Yeah. Well, so in the 17th century, though, it was the Grand Tour. So it was throughout Europe. So technically that's not...
But here's what I mean, though.
No,
but it's still like the concept of visiting somewhere with no intentions of exploring or moving there and just visiting still surprises me, because what I think about is how long it took news to spread during that time. And you think about how are people, and the lack of knowledge of geography then compared to how it is now.
Right. But you think about it too, and the Romans had built the roads back then too. So they had some roads, and if you were wealthy enough, then you could travel.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, if you were wealthy enough, you could do whatever you wanted.
Well, God, that went back farther than I thought.
Yeah.
Now, is this like a half, or is that the whole thing?
That was half.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm saving my other half.
Okay. Well, I figured it definitely changes coming into...
Yeah. Well, I'm not done.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that first half.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I like it. I did learn too. Honestly, other than doing the podcast with the best girl in the world, I love. She didn't even smile. She just looked and.
Oh my gosh, that was so sweet.
Thank you, because I mean it when I say
I
it.
know, that was very kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I feel better.
I know.
Just kidding. It's all for fun. But other than doing that, I also love the learning aspect, and it's fun.
It is fun.
There's been a couple times where there's been things we've learned from this podcast that I'll remember and like bring up in a conversation later.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
It is cool.
My number 3.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll be surprised by this if you think about it, but I don't think I've ever talked to you about it either. But I would love to visit. Here's a general one. I'd like to visit a city or two, I don't know which, in Japan.
Okay.
I don't know. I just threw down like Tokyo, Kyoto, like the big ones,
Yeah.
right? Like Osaka. Like, there's a few reasons for this. I've seen a lot of vloggers go to Japan. I think specifically like Tokyo and Kyoto, those two.
Mm-hmm.
And this Japan seems so culturally different than us. And I kind of want to really see what that's like firsthand. Because it looks really interesting in all the videos that I see.
Yeah, but it would be really scary, though, going there because you don't know what to do culturally and you don't want to stand out. Like, you don't want to...
Oh, sure. I mean, I completely understand that. But also, depends what part of Japan or of, like, Tokyo we're going to. There's plenty of Americans that go to Tokyo.
Yeah, that's true.
So, as much as I would... If I were, like, a purist, I would love to go to, I don't know, like a more like not touristy spot. But I'm fine going to the touristy areas and just kind of seeing the basics of what these like Japanese cities have to offer. Just everything is so different. Like apparently, like there are no trash bins like out on the streets.
Oh, okay.
Like people carry bags to put their trash in, then you take your trash back home.
Oh,
that's totally random, but that's just something I've heard people talk about. But then also another thing, this is part of it. There's some destinations within this destination. Also, by the way, architecture. Japanese architecture is really, like modern, is really interesting. Homes, it's like apartments, but they're like really small and compartmentalized and stacked on top of each other. It doesn't sound fun to live in, but there's some very small areas you can live in Japan.
Yeah.
Like they really cram you in there. Like you can live for cheap in Japan, and it's just a room that can fit a bed and no other space besides the bed. It's wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, plus I think about like Mount Fuji. That'd be cool to see. Because, I mean, that just looks like a beautiful mountain.
Yeah.
And then also in Kyoto, there's the Nintendo headquarters. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything there. They keep people out, but it'd be cool to see it.
Yeah.
Just to drive by it. And then also on that note is the video game stuff in general, right? Some of my favorite video games are Japanese games. They're made in Japan. And I feel like from everything I've seen, once again, this could be just my YouTube curation, like being curated to me, like all that stuff. But there's some amazing game stores in these cities with like Japanese games. That'd just be so cool to see. So there's a lot of little things. I feel like the food would be awesome too. I just think not for the scenic part, but for the more cultural, taking in the city part, I think like Tokyo or Kyoto would be really cool to visit. And I would actually really like to do that at one point. Maybe have someone come with us who knows that culture really well. If we ever had someone in our life that did. You know what I mean? I just think that'd be really...
Yeah, that would be cool.
Really fun.
That would be cool. They'd have good food there, I'm sure.
I just don't picture it being a place that you'd inherently want to go to.
No, I mean, I think it would be cool.
I feel like you'd enjoy it, though.
I think it would... I think there'd be a lot of people, and I think that'd make me kind of nervous.
Yeah, I think it's Tokyo. Tokyo has not city itself, but I believe the most populated metropolitan area in the world. Metropolitan.
Yeah.
Not city. Like other countries have the most people.
Yeah.
But I think Tokyo has the biggest metropolitan population. Obviously, we're not talking about like the pure numbers of like China or India or something, but in terms of metro. Anyway, I think I read that when I was looking up Japan.
Oh, okay. No,
So.
I think it would be a cool place to visit. I don't think I'd want to live there, but I think it'd be a cool place to visit
That's
for
what I mean.
sure.
I wouldn't want to live there
Yeah.
either.
I think it'd be really cool to visit.
All right, we'll go. Pack your bags.
Okay. You hear my number 3?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 3 is somewhere much less populated.
Okay.
It's Switzerland.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah. I like to go there. I don't really ski or anything, but I think it'd be beautiful. And I think it'd be relaxing.
I mean, it looks beautiful. I'd love to go out there.
Yeah.
I think, forgive me, Mom, but I think my mom's been there.
Oh, really?
I know she's been to Germany. I think she's been to Switzerland too.
Really?
Because they're close to each other, right? Or am I sounding really stupid about my
No, I think they're close.
geography right now?
No, they're close.
I thought so.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Well, yeah, because in Switzerland, they have a section. I'm trying to remember. They have a section because it borders. I have to look. I have to look on the map.
I'll look while you say that.
I think it borders France, Germany, and what was the other one?
I'm not sure.
France, Germany, and another country.
All right, let's see how long it takes to get from here to Switzerland.
And I think they speak, because like one part of the country speaks French, one part speaks German, and one part.
That kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's connected to Germany and France and Austria.
And Austria, yeah.
And Croatia. Nope, sorry, not Croatia. Italy.
Italian. That's what I was thinking. Okay, so yeah, because I used to work with somebody at a manufacturing facility in Switzerland, and he was talking about how, because he spoke pretty good English,
yeah,
but his first language was, I think it was German. Was his first language?
You know a little German.
A little bit, yeah. But I was asking him because like one of his other coworkers or whatever like spoke French.
Okay.
And so I was kind of like, well, like, is he from France? And he was like, no, we're all from here.
Right.
And I'm like, well, how does that? And he's like, oh, well, it's just because, then it depends on where you're from in Switzerland. Like,
right.
Depending on if you're from the part that borders this country, then you're more likely to like speak this language or speak a dialect of this language or whatever. So I just thought that's pretty cool.
It is interesting
how that worked. So
it looks pretty small compared to other countries surrounding it when I looked at the map,
but it seems so beautiful, and I think it's known for like skiing and stuff. And I wouldn't necessarily want to go for that, but I just think like the towns are kind of small and like quaint and quiet, and I think it's beautiful, and it would be a very calming place to go. And just probably meet nice people. And it would probably be really, really nice just to like sort of be immersed in the culture and just learn about that. And they're supposed to be a very peaceful country. So.
Well, that all sounds very nice.
Yeah.
That does sound nice. I would enjoy that very much.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too.
If we're going to keep on the topic of what I feel is more kind of like quiet, right? At least parts. My number 2, and I think this won't surprise you because I've mentioned it before, is Scotland.
Yeah.
My people are there. Right, so I got to go for that reason. Most people think I'm Irish, but I actually have Scottish in me, not Irish. But anyway, that being said, when I think of Scotland, I think of a couple things. I think the first thing I think about that really makes me just like, oh, I want to be there and relax is the green rolling hills.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first thing I think about. But then I also think about like there's a lot of castles there.
Yeah.
And like old architecture that I think would be really cool to visit and discover.
That would be cool.
And there's towns and cities there too, of course. But I just think it'd be cool to like stumble into like a small Scottish town and go to the pub and just see who's there. People probably be a little rougher there.
Yeah.
But because I think that's the stereotype. But I'm just saying, I feel like that would be really, really cool. And I love the Scottish accent.
Well,
That's the only thing I wish that Steph had that she doesn't have is a Scottish accent.
why would I have that?
I don't know. Work on it.
I don't have any Scottish in me, like at all.
Well, can you work on that?
No. No.
Um,
The food, though. The food's a little weird.
I don't really know much about that sort of food.
Well, you should look that up.
Because isn't that kind of similar to like German style food?
You should look it up.
Why do you know you're not telling me? I think of like
They eat like intestines and stuff.
that doesn't. I mean, I'll do that.
Okay, well,
I'm experimental with what I eat.
all right. Well, you have fun with that.
Let's just look this up really fast. Scottish food.
You can have fun with that.
Let's see what they say.
Okay.
Top 10 traditional Scottish foods to try: Scotch pies, Scotch porridge, colon skink. What the heck is that?
Delicious.
Deep fried Mars bars. We know what Mars bars are. Mars bars are. That's my Midwest coming out. Mars bars are. I have to like actually read these, so I'll do it later. But the names sound good.
What's haggis? Is something I've heard of before.
Haggis. Did I say that one?
No, but I've heard of it before.
Scotland's iconic national dish, known as haggis, consists of sausage meat made from the innards of the sheep mixed with onions, oatmeal, stock, dried herbs, and other seasonings. These ingredients are combined and then boiled inside the lining of a sheep's stomach. While this may not sound appetizing, if you're feeling adventurous during your trip to Scotland, the delicious haggis will leave you, and then it cuts off, but leave you satisfied, I'm gonna guess. Leave you feeling full and satisfied.
Yuck.
Now, to me, that does sound gross, but I want to try it.
Well, you go try it then.
I want to try it.
Okay, well, go on.
Let me read one more.
Okay.
Neeps and Tatties. How can I not read this? I mean, listen to the name, right?
All right.
We're going to Scotland. We got to talk about this. Often accompanying the national dish of haggis, neeps and tatties are made from root vegetables that have been boiled and mashed into two delicious side dishes. When served alongside the haggis, the meal is in its entirety is called a burn supper. Healthy, delicious neeps and tatties is just another name for potatoes and turnips that can be found. Okay. I don't know. I'm willing to try it. I mean, they survive. Why can't we?
Well, have fun.
It would be beautiful, and you know it.
It would be beautiful. I'm not arguing with that.
I'm sure there's a Chick-fil-A somewhere there.
Yeah, I'll have that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not arguing.
So we're going to go... Who's up now? It's you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got more history to learn.
No. It's not yet. It's my number 2.
Man, I'm off today. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
My ancestry.
Okay, so there's a reason for this. Oh, I know exactly where you're going to pick.
My number 2 is Italy.
Well, of course. Some of you may not know, Steph does have Italian in her blood.
I do, but my ancestry, since I last looked, updated. So it's a little less than it said I was before.
Oh, you're less Italian than you were before?
Yeah.
What changed?
I became more British and Irish.
Does that basically, when you discovered that, does that basically mean that some sort of distant relative somewhere did more research and uncovered more, and that's why you know that now?
I don't know, I guess.
That has to be why, because why else would there be developments, right?
I don't know.
Some weird relative of yours across the world probably did some research, or here in the States.
I guess. I'm 97.6% European and 2.2% Western Asian and North African. And then 0.1% trace ancestry and 0.1% unassigned. But 26.9% French and German. So 66. Okay, so here's the breakdown of the 97.6% of European. 66.5% Northwestern European, which includes British and Irish, French and German, and then broadly Northwestern European. And then 29.1% Southern European, which is 22.6% Italian, and then 5.6% Greek.
So in the scheme of all that, like
1% other.
Like 18% of you or something in general is Italian.
22.6% of me is Italian.
Okay.
Yeah. Highly likely that it's like the Calabria or Sicily area.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but I'd like to go there. My aunt on my dad's side has done, on Ancestry.com, has done some research on the Galellas and like the family there. And I don't know what exactly she found, but she has done that. So it would be cool to know. I don't know, it would just be cool to know and go visit there just to have some of that.
Well, apparently, ending at your dad's generation, you can more easily than most get have a dual citizenship.
Yeah, so one of my friends told me about it, and because she can do it too, but it's pretty expensive. But it's like if you have a female relative, like a grandparent or a great grandparent, like a maternal grandparent somewhere in your family that came to the United States before women were given rights. They were from Italy, which I did. It was my great grandmother came to the U.S. from Italy before the 1920s. Then you can go. There was a Supreme Court case where basically that says you can go, and if you do the amount of research and you provide the proof of everything, then you can basically go and petition for like a dual, like a citizenship, like an Italian citizenship.
Yeah.
Because your maternal, like your grandmother in your family was basically stripped of her Italian, like, well, or the maternal line in your family was stripped of the Italian citizenship because she was because she went with her husband and women didn't have rights. So she didn't have the choice to write. So
that's interesting.
Anyway, there's more to it than that, but that's the gist of it. But it's pretty expensive. You have to hire an attorney, and then you have to hire somebody to do the research, and it costs several $1,000s, like all in all.
Right.
So.
And then for what? Like, I mean, you could go there and live there, but.
Yeah.
But would you,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It could be worth it. Like if you really, like if you had family there and you really, you thought you would end up living there and all of that. So, and if you had the money to spend, if you're a millionaire, like what's a couple $1,000s, whatever.
Look, we can't predict the future. Maybe one day we'll be doing this podcast from Italy. You never know.
No, I don't know. We'll see.
That would be amazing.
It would be. It would be. So anyway, but yeah, that's my number 2. I'd love to go and visit, and just for like, I don't know.
It looks beautiful there.
I know. It
the
does.
Architecture and
just for some like family, like because like some of the recipes too that like have been passed down throughout the family, like have come from Italy, and I don't know.
Italian food is comfort food, man.
It just would be so cool just
Carb
to
City.
be able to make some of those connections and stuff. I don't know. Plus, it'd just be beautiful to visit anyway.
That's kind of how I feel. I'm not you talk about recipes. I'm not like super in touch with any sort of cultural heritage or anything like that. But I kind of felt the way about Scotland. I feel like it's my people.
That.
I kind of want to go there because I feel like
to connect with that. I understand that. I do.
Have a beer with a local.
I understand.
Say, I'm probably related to you.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I do. All right. Are you ready for more research?
Yeah. So we left off at the 19th century.
Yep. All right. So in the first half of the 20th century, the tourism industry continued to grow thanks to the mass production of buses and cars. Coastal tourism began to gain importance, and after World War II, the Mediterranean coast quickly grew in popularity.
World War II, Mediterranean coast.
I know, I can't speak. Also, improvements in air transport, like charter flights, as well as progress in labor legislation and a growth in social welfare led to a boom in tourism. The tourism sector suffered a recession during the 1970s, mainly due to the energy crisis, leading to lower costs and prices, and that's when mass tourism emerged. Traveling went from being something only for an exclusive group to become a leisure activity within the reach of many. In the following decades, there was a progressive internationalization of hotel companies, travel agencies, and airlines. New products and new leisure activities were also offered, revolving around sports and health, among others. Today, the tourism sector has become one of the great economic engines in most countries, forming part of the international political agenda. In recent years, with low-cost flights and the existence of alternative accommodations managed by online companies, it's much easier for tourists to afford to travel, and they can design their itinerary and experiences to their liking. Tourism not only impacts the local economy, but it also starts to affect the social structures, culture, and lifestyle of the destinations visited. Therefore, the challenge now is to provide solutions by developing a tourism awareness that is respectful with the environment and the local way of living of its inhabitants.
Well, because one thing that we have not talked about and probably will not get into is
the impact that tourism has.
The negative impact that tourism has on cities and destinations. That's something I actually feel kind of strongly about. And I don't know why.
Yeah,
but
it does have a really big impact.
Yeah, it does. But in terms of the progression and the growth of it, I'm not surprised at the time frame. That's kind of what I would have guessed. She said after the 70s, it really started to ramp up, and that's when companies and hotels and agencies started to capitalize. I'm turning into you.
I know.
But you capitalize on this, right? So it makes sense because since our lifetime, it's just felt like something you do, like you travel internationally.
Yeah. I mean, I never have, but
neither have I, and it still obviously costs a pretty penny. I mean, gosh, it costs a pretty penny just to drive 20 hours across the country. So, but in general, makes sense.
Yeah.
That is something we should get into maybe some other time, though, just the sad impacts. There's so many cities and towns and places where you visit, and it looks good until you leave the spot that people tour.
Yeah.
As it were. And these places are sad shells of what they used to be.
Yeah.
You also hear about, that reminds me too of, I don't know if there's a name for it, but I call it like the Olympics effect. You know what I'm talking about?
Where they build these huge buildings for the Olympics, and then after that it's like deserted and empty. And
well, and there's been some cases, like I'm not going to name names because I don't know exactly where, but I've heard that there's some cases where it's affected more than just these areas. Like it's kind of the greater areas that don't have the economy and the money really just end up kind of coming down after the Olympics have gone through. So I don't know where exactly, but I'm assuming just smaller countries. Yeah. I'm not saying the entire country's burned to the ground, but it does affect it really bad. It's sad how that works.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that is sad.
But. All right. Well, speaking of sad, but that's not true. Let's make it happy. Want my number one?
Yeah.
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 And this is going to be a deep cut for Zelda fans, but you sound like the postman in the N64 games, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Yeah! Yeah! He like runs around. Anyway, he's the postman. My number one place I'd like to visit, international destination. I'm going to throw this at you, Steph, because you might be able to guess. It's in London, and it's a particular building.
Something with the Beatles.
They are a part of this, but it's much bigger than that for me. Any more specific guess, or are you going to stop it there? It's probably the most, let's see if you get the name. It is probably the most iconic and famous recording studio in the world.
Oh, shoot. No, I don't know.
Starts with an A.
Abbey.
Yep.
Abbey.
You know, I see this is one that you do know, and it's on the tip of your tongue. I could tell. Abbey Road Studios.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to visit Abbey Road Studios. Steph mentioned the Beatles. That's part of it. So I'll just explain it this way. Well, first of all, I'll say this. If you really want to learn about Abbey Road Studios, watch the documentary. I think it's on Disney Plus, and it's called If These Walls Could Sing. Great title, by the way. It's directed by, I can't think of her name, but Paul McCartney's daughter. And she interviews all of these legends. And they talk about the beginning of the studio and how it changed into what Abbey Road Studios is today. Anyway, basically, it is an iconic studio that has had so many huge musicians go through. I don't even know where to start. Right? Obviously, you can say the Beatles, Elton John, Pink Floyd, plenty of modern artists too. John Williams, like orchestra, like for like Star Wars and all those huge movies were recorded at Abbey Road Studios. Like the Star Wars theme was recorded in Abbey Road Studios.
Oh,
wow. I think anything he did, or most things he did, at least for like Spielberg and Lucas and stuff he did there. But the list goes on. You just have to do a quick Google search and type in artists who've been through Abbey Road Studios. But of course, for me, the biggest one is the Beatles.
Yeah.
They were in Studio B. I can't remember if they go by letters or names now, or letters or numbers, but the mid-sized studio, which for about 30 or 40 years after, the interior stayed the same, but in recent years, they've remodeled it.
Oh.
And I kind of wish I would have been there before they remodeled it. Because,
Aww.
but artists still go there from around the world just because of the history.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that Royal Albert Hall. It's kind of like full circle. They do tours. I'm sure they're outrageously priced. I don't care. I would love to go there.
Yeah.
If we ever find ourselves in London, which you want to go to as well. And we can cross Abbey Road. You know, the iconic.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not even going to call it the album picture. I'm going to call it, you know, the thing that's on the blanket that you love.
Yeah, I know.
She's got an Abbey Road blanket, or she uses it. And we could cross it.
Yeah.
I don't know. So many my favorite artists have been through there, and that's amazing to me.
I think that it should definitely be on your bucket list to go visit.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great number one.
Thank you. That's mine.
I like that number one.
Thank you.
It's a good one.
Listen, everybody. I love when she compliments my numbers, so I relish in this. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
As opposed to when I just brush them off. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good number one.
All right. I'm waiting on yours.
My number one is Greece.
Really?
Yeah.
Your number one is Greece. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I just think it would be so beautiful. And, I mean.
No, I believe you. I think it would be too.
I don't know. I don't have it. No, it sounds so not as important compared to like all the things you just shared, I guess. But you just envision like, I need to learn more of
it's okay.
The verbiage before I go. But like the white, like villas or houses that are stacked like on the cliffside, you know, up. And then you have the beautiful sparkling blue water and all the boats. And it just seems so peaceful and calm. And I've also had a couple friends who visited there too. And they say that it's beautiful. And people are so nice. And there's cats everywhere.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's going to be the best.
I know nothing about hats.
Cats everywhere.
Oh, I heard hats. Thinking,
Cats.
okay, why didn't know she loves hats so much?
Cats everywhere outside, like feral cats.
The microphone
everywhere.
isn't picking up your sound. That's
cats.
Why. There it is.
CATS.
Yep. Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
And and I think that would be amazing. But I've heard the food is really good. Anyway, there's a lot of beautiful places you can go to. And I feel like just the aesthetic of the entire place, right, is like neutral colors. Like it's
I know
like
what you mean by that.
stone. Like it's just very calming. And I don't know. I just think that would be a really beautiful and lovely place to visit.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree.
And it's on the water, but it doesn't seem like it's a hot and humid type of place.
I would love to learn more about the culture.
Yeah, me too.
I grew up with a very good friend whose parents are from Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a little, because of that close connection, I did have a little bit of taste of the culture, and I'd be curious to know more. I do love the food. Oh, I love Greek food from what I've had. But I would love to have more and experience it really like kind of firsthand. I totally agree. I kind of wish I would have thought of Greece.
Aww.
Because
I think it would be a really, that's at the top of my, that's kind of at the top of my travel list right now. So like, that's why it's my number one. Because I think if I could pick anywhere right now to travel internationally, that's where I would pick.
I would pick that first with you, by the way. So I think we have an agreement here.
Okay.
That's good, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's good.
Yeah, I do.
We have a lot of places to go, though, in general.
I know we do. We have 10.
So we better start saving up about, I don't know, $80,000 and we'll get going.
Well, I think that's going to cost a lot more than $80,000 to go to all those places.
Well, maybe a couple of them. We'll start with a couple.
Yeah.
You can get away with that. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do. In the meantime, I think it's time for us to go right now. We learned a little bit about tourism through the years and how it's changed, and even a little bit how it's bad. We still love going places, though. The world is so big and so beautiful.
And pretty.
And pretty. That's
yeah.
right. Steph's two, fifth grade words. It's so beautiful and pretty.
I know, that's all I say.
That reminds me of this super fast story. We had our band director. No, sorry, it wasn't our band director. It was our choir director. After we would do a performance singing, we'd always listen to our performance and not always, but sometimes we would. And we'd listen and critique.
Yeah.
Right, our own performance. And she would ask, it was kind of mandatory, but for everybody to kind of have something to say about it. Our choir was pretty small compared to probably most schools. And we always had this kid who would always joke because it was what do you, how do you feel about it? And it's I feel like it was really, I don't know, we really did our best. I think we could have worked on this a little bit. But then there's always this one kid, and it was always him. It's what'd you think? And he'd always go, it was fun. And he did it on purpose. Yeah, but what do you mean fun? He said, it was cool. He would never give more than that. And it's dude, just give more because he thinks it's funny.
Uh-oh.
Anyway,
yeah.
Totally random.
No, that's funny.
Steph, are you ready to, actually, before we draw the next topic, what we should do is, you want to explain what people can do?
Follow us.
Where can they follow us?
At the 2-Piece Pod on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and YouTube.
It's true.
Did I miss one?
I think you said it all.
Not Twitter.
Can we stop bringing that up?
Scratch it out.
We should just stop even bringing it up.
Scratch it out.
Oh,
yeah, but
funny.
it's in my muscle memory, though. So it feels weird to not say it.
Yeah.
So scratch it out, though.
All right.
Scratched out.
We're getting weird. We need to go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the 2-Piece Podcast. What we're going to do now is do the drum roll and randomly pick the next topic. Let me go. Hold on. Okay, I'm ready. Well, our next topic is going to be our top 5 favorite album covers.
Ooh.
That's kind of interesting, because first I thought albums. We already did albums, but then I read it. Yeah, it's our top 5 favorite album covers.
That'll be a good one. I like it.
I feel like it's one of those ones where it sounds simple, but then we're going to break it down and...
Yeah, I like it. It'll be good.
Really get into it.
Yeah.
So. All right.
It'll be good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the 2-Piece Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.